Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be learning about how to find angle between two lines. Suppose we are given two lines L1 and L2, right? These two lines are given to us. Let the line L1 makes an angle of alpha 1 with the positive x-axis, and the line L2 makes an angle of alpha 2 in the with the positive x-axis in the anti-clockwise direction, right? Now we wanted to determine the angle between these two lines. So the angle is clearly either it is the angle theta or it is the angle phi. Both are the angles which are formed between these two lines L1 and L2. One among them, among theta and phi, is acute angle. Another one is obtuse angle, right? So we shall be looking at both the results, and we wanted to know what is the angle which is the acute angle, right? So I have written the same. L1 and L2 are the two lines. Now these lines could either be two parallel lines within the coordinate planes, or they could be intersecting lines, as I have shown over here. For parallel lines, there would be no angle of intersection, right? There would be no angle between two lines. Why? Because they will never intersect each other. So we will be taking the case of intersecting lines, correct? Now once we have intersecting lines, we assume that for the line L1 we have m1 as the slope with it making an angle alpha 1 with the positive x-axis, and L2 is another line which is having slope m2 and which makes an angle of alpha 2 with the positive x-axis. Right, in that case your slope would be m1 is equals to tan alpha 1 and m2 would be equal to tan alpha 2, correct? So we, as I have told you, theta and phi, they are two adjacent angles between the lines L1 and L2. Now what is this theta and what is this phi? So we need to determine that. So we need to determine how we can know what is the angle between two lines, right? In terms of the slopes. So you know m1 is tan alpha 1 and m2 is tan alpha 2 according to the definition of slopes, correct? So this is what I have written over here. In terms of m1 and m2, what is the value of theta and what is the value of phi? Now in the figure you can see that this theta and this phi, they are lying on one straight line, hence they join together to give you 180 degree. Hence you have theta plus phi is equals to 180 degree, correct? This is one result. Another result is that you see this theta is this theta angle here is equal to this angle. Why? Because they are vertically opposite angles, and you see this alpha angle is equal to this alpha 2 is equal to alpha 1 plus theta, right? Because alpha 2 is the exterior angle to the other two, alpha 1 and theta. So from here you have alpha 2 is equal to theta plus alpha 1. So your theta is alpha 2 minus alpha 1. So from here, can you calculate tan of this angle? Tan of this angle would be tan of this angle alpha 2 minus alpha 1. And you know what is tan of A minus B? According to the formula of trigonometry, it is tan A minus tan B divided by 1 plus tan A tan B. So we will be making use of this formula here. Tan of alpha 2 minus alpha 1 is tan alpha 2 minus tan alpha 1 divided by 1 plus tan alpha 1 tan alpha 2. The value of tan alpha 1 is m1 and the value of tan alpha 2 is m2. So we have substituted the values to obtain this relation. And notice that this denominator is not equal to 0. Why? Because if your denominator m1 plus m1 m2 is equal to 0, in that case what would you have? You would have m1 m2 is equals to minus 1. So that would give you that slope of two lines is equal, their product is equal to minus 1. So it means that the two lines should be perpendicular to each other, right? However, we have took the lines as not perpendicular, hence this denominator is never going to be equal to 0, correct? Now as I've told you, they form theta and phi, they form linear pair. So theta plus phi is equal to 180 degree. Hence from here, what is phi? Phi is 180 degree minus theta. So from here, what is tan phi? It is equal to tan 180 minus theta. And you know 180 minus some angle, that means we are in a second quadrant. If we are in the second quadrant, you know tan here is negative, right? So this would become negative, and because it is 180, so tan would remain tan. So you have tan theta here, and you know the value of tan theta. From here, you know the value of tan theta. It is equal to m2 minus m1 divided by 1 plus m1 m2. So we have substituted this value. Right? Now, what if your quantity, this one, is positive? If this is positive, then tan phi is negative, correct? And your tan theta is positive. Hence, this is what I have written. Hence, you see your theta would be lying in which quadrant? For tan to be positive for theta and tan to be negative for phi, that means phi is lying in the second quadrant, because we are only talking about the first and second quadrant, because thereafter we have our angle is complete, because the maximum angle between two lines would be 0 to 180 degree. So between these two angles here, we say either we have our first quadrant or the second quadrant. If your angle tan is positive here and tan is negative here, right? So in this case, if your tan phi is negative, so that means phi is lying in the second quadrant. That means it is lying between 90 to 180 degree. So that means the angle has to be obtuse. And if your tan theta is positive, so definitely it is lying between 0 to 90 degree. Hence your tan is an acute angle. Theta is an acute angle in this case. If m2 minus m1 divided by 1 plus m1 m2 is negative, in that case tan theta is also negative and tan phi is positive. So what does it mean? It now means that you have phi as an acute angle. Why? Because tan theta is positive for it by the same argument. Hence, whichever is the acute angle, we say it is given by the positive quantity, because here phi is positive, correct? Phi is the acute angle, and for it tan phi is positive, right? And here theta is the acute angle, and for it tan theta is positive. Hence, that means for an acute angle we want tan theta to be positive. So we have applied this modulus here in order to get it as positive quantity, correct? So this is the formula, and you should remember this formula. So using this formula, we can have a look at one of the example here. So let's have this, let's look at this example here. If we say the angle between two lines, one line is given to you, another, right, like let's say it like this, another line is this, they are saying if the angle between them is given to be pi by 4, which is 45 degree, and slope of one of the lines m1 is given to you as 1 by 2, you need to find what is m2, correct? So you know this formula. Here you can substitute the values of theta, you can substitute the value of, you suppose your m2 is m and your m1 is given to be 1 by 2, then you can simplify this. Tan pi by 4 is equal to how much? It is equal to 1, correct? Tan 45 is 1. Now you have 1 is equal to mod of some quantity. Now in order to remove this mod, you have one time this quantity as equal to plus 1, and another time you have this quantity as equal to minus 1. We cannot ignore one possibility. We have to take both the possibilities here. So in the case when it is equal to plus 1, in that case when you simplify this, shift this term to the right hand side and then solve for m, you get the value of m is equal to 3, right? And in the second case, when you take this quantity as equal to minus 1 and solve it, take this thing to the right hand side and then simplify, you get the value of m is equal to minus 1 by 3, right? So from here you get the two possible values of slope is either 3 or minus 1 by 3. Both would satisfy the condition. Now you would think that how two slopes are possible for a particular line. How is that so? So you see that is possible if one line is already given to you as m having slope 1 by 2, right? You need to find another line such that it makes an angle 45 degrees. So this could be the line where its slope is equal to 3. And in other case, it could be making an obtuse angle, right? Such that again it is making an angle of 45 degree with this line. So in that case, the slope is different. So this is how you obtain two different slopes when you are given an angle and the slope of one line. So I hope you understood this concept of calculating the angle between two lines. You should clearly remember this formula here for calculating the slope, which is tan theta is equal to modulus of m2 minus m1 divided by 1 plus m1 m2. Well, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching.